Quick quiz. What injury law firm has been helping people in the District, Maryland, and Virginia for over 35 years? That's right. It's Greenberg and Betterman. Auto accident? Medical malpractice? Get a free consultation by visiting gblawyers.com and feel better.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I'm 12 Kyle. Check this out. On this podcast, what we're going to talk about is red flags. And I've got some special co-hosts, podcast family, if you will. My homegirls, Bibbi and Mya from the We Did That Shit podcast. Now, if you've heard them on this podcast before, you know how they get down. So we're going to have a comical discussion about red flags, what to look for, and the things you may or may not be doing. So sit tight. After the break, we will present to you red flags with Bibbi and Mya from the We Did That Shit podcast here on the 12 Kyle podcast. Let's get it. Welcome back. As I mentioned in the intro, we have a special podcast. Well, I mean, they're all special, but I mean, this one's a little bit more special than normal. As you see in the title, we are talking about red flags. And when I thought about this topic, I was doing some reading and I came across this subject. There were only two people that came to mind. If you've been following the podcast, you've heard them on here before. They are my podcast cousins. Let me introduce them to you for those who don't know. First is one half of the We Did That Shit podcast. She is a mother. She is a businesswoman. She is a hustler. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Bibbi to the 12 Kyle podcast. Bibbi, what up?
What's up, Kyle?
It's been a minute.
I know, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Glad to have you back on.
Glad to be back.
For sure. And the other half of the We Did That Shit podcast is, like I said, no stranger. She's a hustler. She's a go-getter. She's everything. And she will tell you about yourself if she needs to. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mya back to the podcast. Mya, what's good?
Hey, Kyle.
What's happening?
That was a good intro. I'll take it. I definitely will tell you about yourself if you need it. Thanks for having us on the show.
Man, glad to get y'all back on. Like I said, we're talking about red flags. So what happened was I was reading this article and I do reading and stuff like that. So I saw this article and the headline kind of jumped at me, and it just gave a list of like some of the red flags to notice in a relationship. Or when you're dating someone or situationship or whatever the case may be. So it got me to thinking because, I'm not single anymore. I've been married now for 20 years. And my single friends my single homeboys, they always tell me they're like, man, when you was dating, the last time you was dating, Tupac was still alive. Like this. So they tell me, the game has changed so much since I was in the game. But, I know people and I watch people and things of that nature. So what I wanted to do was I've got a list of things that I read in that article, and what I'm going to do is just kind of throw it out to you guys and bounce it off and just get your opinion. And these are in no particular order. One major red flag, and I'll start first with you, Bibbi. Jealousy. Sometimes when you're getting into a relationship, it can feel flattering at first that, your partner wants to keep them all to yourselves. But sometimes jealousy can lead to, a controlling type behavior. Anytime you have a girlfriend or boyfriend that, gets extremely annoyed when you're not around them, that could be a red flag. So what's your take on jealousy?
First of all, jealousy is not sexy. And I think for me, jealousy is a turnoff, but for me, I have to be attracted to you. So if you're jealous of people, it makes me not attracted to you, and it just won't work. Because attraction is everything. And you're right. Jealousy leads to insecurities. However, I'm a kind of person that I love people for who they are. And so red flags is something like I can see a red flag like, oh, maybe they don't know any better, but so I will notice it, but sometimes it just takes me a longer time sometimes to say I will or will not accept it. But jealousy is like, that is like a stark raving huge red flag. If you are like, you have to be confident in yourself. Confidence is everything. And you can blame the other person if you want to, but if you need to take more time to get to know the person to build the trust, then do that. You don't have to be jealous. I'm not jealous because I am who I am, and you're not going to find another me. So either you want, or you don't. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. But yeah, jealousy is a big red flag, and that is something that I probably would dismiss sooner rather than later too. I don't know if I can tolerate jealousy for a long time.
Gotcha. No doubt. What about you, Mya? What's your take on jealousy?
My take on jealousy, this is going to be a funny podcast for me because everything is a red flag for me. But Bibbi knows this about me. But jealousy, as Bibbi said, is a major turnoff. And the reason being is because as a woman that dates men, you want a man to be confident in everything that he does. And you want him to be confident in who he is. And if you're jealous of another person, then you're not confident at all, because no one should bring you to the point where you feel some type of way about what somebody else can bring to my table. So it's a turn off, it's insecurity, it's controlling, and controlling behavior leads to abuse. And people think that abuse is just physical abuse, but jealousy can breed emotional abuse. It can breed mental abuse, and all of that is a hell no. Not a no, a hell no. So yeah, I just don't think that there's anything to be jealous of over. No. And another thing about it is people going to do what they're going to do anyway. So even if you're jealous of the next person, what does it matter? If somebody wants to be with somebody else, they're just going to be with somebody else. It just is what it is. So my take on jealousy is what for? Right. Like, you have no reason to be secure in who you are and what you bring to the table.
That's a good point. So let me give a quick follow-up question. I know we're older now, but when you look back on a young Mya or a young Bibbi, is there anybody that could say from back in the day, like, she used to be jealous of such and such? Like, let's say you were in a relationship and this person could say, because like I've never been a jealous person, never been jealous. But like I know people who have, maybe not jealous now that we're, in our later stages of life. But just like, could anybody from your past say, that you were jealous? And it doesn't necessarily have to be jealous of another woman. It could be jealous of a guy, like that. Is anybody from your past that probably could say that, Mya?
No, nobody can say that I'm jealous. A woman can't say that I'm jealous of them. A friend can't say that, or jealous of anything. I'm real confident, like extremely. So when it comes down to a relationship, I feel like Bibbi said, you'll never find another me. And even if it's like Jay-Z said, if you made me, make another one. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you ain't gonna never find that, because I'm secure in what I bring to the table. You might find something that's better for you. Obviously I have exes, or I have people that I don't deal with or that I once dealt with, and they have moved on and they're happy in whatever it is that they're doing, I'm assuming. So you might find somebody else, but you still ain't gonna find Mya. So no, I'm not. Nobody can ever say that. I have nothing to be jealous off of for anything that anybody has. It's just like pointless to me.
Okay. But B, what about you? Back in the day, no jealous rage or anything like that?
First of all, Kyle, I'm 25 with experience. I don't know what you're talking about, this age thing.
He did say later ages,
I
later
didn't divulge
stages of life.
ages.
I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm in my
But
40s.
not
You two young ladies are in your 20s.
with experience.
Right.
So no, absolutely not. I have not ever in my life been a jealous type. I've always been very confident in who I am. Some people who don't know me, maybe when I was younger, will call me vain or conceited, but I don't feel like I ever have been. I celebrate other people. I think other people are beautiful. I think other people do great things, but never jealous ever.
Nothing wrong with that. And I like the fact that you both alluded to the word confident. And I was telling one of my homeboys just a couple of weeks ago, I was like, confidence is like cologne. You got to put it on and you got to wear it well. It's not.
yes.
And the one thing about it is, with a woman, they know when you're not confident. They could just like you could smell when somebody doesn't have on cologne. You can smell when they have it on too. So it was just a little thing we were going back and forth about. Well, I don't want to get too bad. his lack of confidence with this particular young lady. But yeah, those are some great points. Another red flag, Mya. I'll start with you. They try to drive a wedge between you and your friends and your family. Now, anyone who wants you to be all to themselves, that's understandable. But sometimes people can go too far. Knowing you the way that I know you, you're really, really, actually both of you, big on family. What happens when you see a red flag like someone who is trying to drive a wedge between you and your family and your friends?
I think that when it comes down to somebody that's trying to drive a wedge, you have to be to me, it's on the person, not even on the person that they're with. It's on you to stop that. You know what I'm saying? And when a person wants to drive a wedge between your family and friends, I don't believe in that have you all to yourself thing. And the reason being is because anything can happen to your mate. They could pass away, you could break up. And if everything is tied into this one person, then where does that leave you? So I think that it's very important that you still maintain relationships outside of a relationship, for one. And for two, nobody is going to be, I'm huge on family. Nobody is going to be there for you like your family will. Right. When that relationship goes south, or when you need something, even within the relationship for both of you, who you can turn to and who you can go to is your family. And all of these red flags for me is going to lead to the same word. I'm going to use this several times throughout this podcast. That is abuse. Like, that's abusive behavior. I'm sorry. Like, a person that just wants you, like, because my thing is why don't you want me to be with my family? Mm-hmm. Are you worried about what my family is going to say about you? And again, it goes back to confidence, because if you were confident, you wouldn't really care what somebody else had to say about you. Like, what is the reason behind this? What is the reason why you want me to not be with my family? Especially if you come into the situation and you know that I'm, like close with my family, close with my friends, that I'm all about family. And then all of a sudden you want it to be not that way. That's abusive to me.
Right. No, that's a great point. And they actually allude to that, some of these red flags lead to abuse, and it's not necessarily something physical, but it could be, like you said, mental. What about you, Bibbi? The new guy coming into your life, and I'm not talking about anyone in particular, but a new guy coming into your life, and he tries to drive a wedge between you and your family and friends. What's your thoughts about that?
I think if it's very overt, it's definitely a deal breaker. My family is very close, and like Mya, I feel like, I don't know, but I've even had this situation happen to me. Like, the guy says something and I'm looking like, is this ninja going to try to punch me 6 months from now? You know what I mean? And it just, it puts you on high alert. So I definitely believe if it's overt and they're really trying to drive a wedge, it is definitely a red flag. I think even to the point of a deal breaker, because I do believe in deal breakers. and deal breakers are, I don't care how much you like somebody. I don't care what's going on. If you know that this is happening and you know that's something you can't tolerate, you cut it off then. You count your losses and you cut it off. Mm-hmm. So if you're overtly driving a wedge, that's a deal breaker. However, sometimes it's subtle and you don't realize it and they may not realize it at the time. So you have to, and things will happen and you'll say, hey, like the last 3 times you didn't want to go, or you don't want me to go, or something like that. And you have to bring it to their attention. So, I mean, when you're in a relationship, everybody wants their time, especially if the person's love language is quality time. Mm. And like with my family, we get together a lot. Like we're together a lot. And for people who don't have that, they might find it strange. So they may not be comfortable all the time coming, but I'm still going to go. And you have to be okay with that.
No doubt. And like you said, that is huge, especially, like I said, I know the two of you, and family is big. Family is big for me as well. So anybody trying to, drive a wedge between me and my family, my friends, it's going to be a problem. That's a huge, I'm like you guys, it's a huge deal breaker for me. The next one, and I'll start with you, Bibbi. They describe their exes as crazy. Now, some relationships end badly and, people go their separate ways. But, sometimes when your new partner is just spitting all kind of venom about their old former lover or former flame or whatever the case may be, the word crazy comes up. What's your thoughts on that person describing their ex as crazy?
I have one friend who has an affinity for crazy chicks. And I don't know what it is. So if he's saying it, it's true because he has an affinity for crazy chicks. But other than him, every other guy I know that will, and I'm just not guys I've dated, guys I haven't dated. When you refer to your ex as crazy, that usually means at the root of the issue is she didn't do everything you wanted her to do and you didn't like it. But people are innately selfish, right? Mm-hmm. In a relationship, you want, you look at the person, you size them up, you say, oh, I like them, they like me, oh, they're attractive, I'm attracted to them, they're attracted to me, and then you get to know each other. And then it's, okay, this fits, this fits, this fits. And then you find the one thing that you may not agree on, like that doesn't fit. And they will take, especially men, will take that one thing that doesn't fit and instead of making an adjustment or doing it by yourself, or, you could do that with your boys. Now I'm crazy. You know what I mean? And to me, that is definitely a red flag, because in or out of a relationship, I don't want anybody bad talking me or doing anything to tarnish my reputation in the street. Like, if you say that about her, you'll say that about me. Mm-hmm. I dated a guy. I dated him in high school, and I dated him again some years after high school. And he talked about his ex. Like, I'm telling you, I thought she was like a low down, dirty gutter snipe, the way he talked about this girl. I would say, like, but you was loving her up. Like, she is all this, but you were loving her up. And then I had an opportunity to meet her in a whole different realm. I wasn't even talking to him anymore. I was on vacation and spent like a week with her in the same place. And I was like, this child is just the nicest person I ever met in my life. Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm just like, and now that's just confirmed for me that he was the asshole that I thought he was. Mm-hmm. But
yeah. Maya agrees.
So yeah, that is definitely a red flag for me, and it probably will be a deal breaker, because if you're out here downing women, especially a black woman, I don't want any parts of that.
No doubt. What about you, Maya? They describe their ex as crazy.
Yeah, it just goes with anything else. If everything is the same and you're the difference, then you're the common denominator. And so when people tell me that their ex is crazy, the first thing I say is why? And if they can't truly explain to me why they think this person is crazy, then I say the same thing. Oh, okay. That's your opinion, and you're the common denominator. So, what did you do to make the person crazy? Because if you got 7 exes and all 7 of them is crazy, and I feel like, but B, how crazy was she? Because you was with her, you was laid up, you was screwing, you was
Mm-hmm.
loving, you was hugging, you was taking her beach family or whatever the case is. So how crazy was she? And the same goes, vice versa for a man, describing a woman and a woman describing a man.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody is crazy and you're the common denominator, then that just tells me everything that I need to know. It's a huge red flag because like Bibbi said, it's something that that they didn't do that you wanted them to do. So now they're crazy. People are going to say what they say about their exes. I don't trust anybody who says completely bad things about somebody that they once loved. I
Mm.
had this conversation with my uncle because my uncle was married and he got divorced. I have never heard him talk about this woman ever again. They never talked again. They didn't have any children or anything, so they had no reason to talk. It was like when it was over, it was over. But I've never heard him say anything about her. I've never heard him say, oh, yeah, I've randomly talked to so and so, or they don't have any type of communication. And I was like, you don't think that's weird? Like, you don't think that that is weird that you would, one, talk bad about something. He doesn't really talk bad about her, but I'm just saying, one, talk bad about this woman, not have any communication, like it never existed. The fact that you can be like that with somebody you love is strange to me,
Mm-hmm.
or somebody that you loved at one time. You loved her as enough to marry her, and now it's like nothing. That's weird. That's a huge red flag. It just tells you a lot about the person. No shade to my uncle because I love him.
And how long were they together?
They were together before they got married. They were together probably for like 10
Oh
years.
wow.
Then they got married. They really shouldn't have. I mean, I don't want to get all into the business, but they really shouldn't have got married in the beginning. What the hell happened? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we still got you.
Um, my bad. But they shouldn't have really probably got married in the beginning, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother podcast. But they were together for about 10 years and then they got married, and they probably was married for maybe like 3 years.
Okay.
And then they just never talked again ever in life.
Yeah,
That's weird as hell.
that I can understand not talking, but given the fact that you said he didn't mention her at all, I mean that is telling to me because I think like if we've been together for a while, you would have meant something. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, and I'm not saying we got to be buddy because every relationship ends differently or whatever the case may be, but it had to have been something. Like I'm not just gonna walk around and
Yeah.
I mean you talking 13 years right there. That's a long time to be with someone and then just I don't know. You're right. That's kind of crazy.
It's kind of crazy. I'm just saying again for, to put a bow on what I was saying. It just is like if you have something bad to say, crazy or not, even if it was just like you couldn't have said that they was crazy, you could have said anything about them. If you have something bad to say about a person that you once liked or loved or shared moments with, that's a red flag and it's a turnoff.
No doubt. I'm with you 1,000%. I've never referred, and I don't think anybody's ever referred to any of my exes. At least it never got back to me, but never referred to me as crazy because I'm not crazy, and I like to think that I've never dated anybody crazy. So that's never entered my. People do crazy things. Doing crazy things and being crazy are two different things.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I've never referred to it as an ex as crazy. Okay, Maya. Fighting happens, not fist fights, but arguments happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the midst of an argument, people can flip a switch And if they flip a switch, maybe they become someone who you're not necessarily familiar with. And then sometimes people can get disrespectful. And if they get disrespectful, sometimes in an argument, another major red flag is that they call you names in an argument. Talk to me about calling someone names in an argument being a red flag.
Don't call me shit. Don't call me a name. That's a rule for a breakup. I'm gonna be very honest with you, because again, it goes back to what I was just talking about. We're supposed to be in this situation, whether we're at the like stage or we're at the love stage or we're at the whatever the hell stage. If you feel comfortable enough to call me a name, that's how you feel. That's how you feel. It's no amount of fighting. I've been in fights with people, like not like a I'm not talking about like a chick off the street. I'm not talking about that, because that's fair game. I'm gonna say whatever I want to say. But like with somebody who I'm like, after we fight and you call me all kinds of bitches and hoes and whatever it is you calling me, are we laying down next to each other after that? Like, or you coming over the next day? And like, what's the apology like when you get finished with that? Because to me, that's how you feel. It's no amount of fighting that should cause you in a relationship setting. There is no amount of fighting that should cause you to get to the point where you would call somebody a name. If you call me a name in a fight, you won't be calling me no more. And I mean that with everything in me. I don't care if we've been together 20 years. You won't be calling me no more, because, again, that's how you feel about me. It just should never get to that point. And I have been angry with people, and I know people who have been angry with me, but not to that magnitude. I wouldn't even call somebody a name in a relationship if it was like on a breakup type thing. Like, what am I calling you a name for? You know what I'm saying? And then, like, what kind of name? That's another thing.
A name that you shouldn't call somebody.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, because I'm just saying it's not like it's levels to the name, but if you get to the point, but what I'm saying is, if you get to the point where you so mad and then you haul off and you call me a bitch,
right?
But then you haul off and you call me a slut. I mean, I think it's a difference with that. You know what I'm saying? But don't call me anything. In a relationship setting, you should just never get to that point. So, no. That's a huge turnoff, and it's a huge red flag. And it's abuse. Don't call me a name. That goes back to all of these things lead to the thing at the end of the tunnel, which is abuse. I mean, because now you comfortable enough. Yes, it's calling me names. You taking me away from my family. We got it. It's a no for me.
No doubt. What about you, Bibbi?
Define name calling.
Like Mya said, a bitch, hoe, slut. I mean, like, some calling you out of your name. Not
out
calling you
so to me,
and not calling you babe, not calling you baby, calling you something derogatory.
Yeah, because again, this is an argument. So
right.
What's being said is said to hurt your feelings.
Right. Hello, my name is Bibbi, and I'm a name caller.
Say what?
I mean, what kind of names are you calling? Like your dumbass? Like that?
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, so first of all, when I'm just going to speak from my experience. I have never been in a relationship. I've never argued prior to the relationship that I'm in now. Never.
Okay.
Just felt like it's not necessary. I'm not going to argue. I do not like angry men. Don't like to be around angry men or anything like that. In my current relationship, we have arguments. And what I've learned is, for me, I don't think that I ever cared enough to argue. And now I feel like I care. So we hash it out. Now, he has said to me maybe more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times, stop calling me out my name. So I guess that can't be a red flag to me.
That's
I
a
don't
red
think
flag for him.
Well, clearly, but I can't, but I feel like I don't say anything like, bad. It's just like, if I think what we're arguing about is goofy, then I'm just like goofy, or something like that, like dummy or something. And I probably wouldn't call him dumb, but maybe I might be thinking it. I'm not sure. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm a name caller. And I think that my mom was a name caller too. So I just think like sometimes when
don't
people
blame it on your mama.
Well, every day I know I'm more and more like her. It scares me.
But still, don't blame it on her.
I just think that for me, it like, even though he doesn't name call, he does other things. So when you're angry, sometimes people don't know how to express themselves. So for me, even though I probably wouldn't like it, I wouldn't call that a red flag for me, because I know I do it.
I have a follow-up question.
I'm upset in the moment, but I really don't mean any harm.
Go ahead, Mya.
Okay, I have a follow-up question, not to take over your show. However,
this is your show now. Come on now.
Okay, so you're calling him a name. Like, you might be like, you know what, just get out of my face. You acting like a dumbass. Okay. But if he did that to you, I'm just using that as an example. I don't know what you calling this man, but if he did that to you, how would you feel?
Like, if it's something I say, we're arguing. It doesn't like, an argument, it doesn't bother me. Like, because I just think that you're hashing it out, and I don't know. It doesn't, we're hashing it out. That's just how it works.
But you can't call him something other than his name.
That is true, but I also learned about myself. I'm not perfect. None of us are. Myself that a lot of times, and I've done this very young, started this very young too. A lot of times I just don't address people by their name. I'll just like start talking or say, I just don't. There's probably a reason for it, but I just, it's just not normal for me to say, hey, Kyle, or, Kyle, what's up? I'm gonna tell you this, Kyle. It's just not normal for me. It's not natural for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. We ain't gonna turn this into a therapy session, but we could. But go ahead, Kyle.
No, I mean, but that's actually it's good to hear that perspective, because I really wasn't expecting that answer. But I mean, like, I think for me, ever since I was younger, I just learned to kind of, when you're in an argument, just kind of stop and just be more thoughtful about what it is that you say. Like, because once you say it, you can't take it back. So, like, exactly. I've never called like a girlfriend a bitch. Like, in fact, other than rap lyrics, I wouldn't use the word. Well, I'll take that back. I've called a lot of dudes bitches, because there's a lot of dudes that are bitches. But that's another story for another day. But not, at a woman like that. But no, I think it's just, and I'm not telling you what to do. I just think, like, you have to be mindful of it, because you don't want it to be reversed. You know what I'm saying? So, and it depends on, like you said, the words that you use. Now, none of us are dumb, but can you do something dumb? Yeah, you can do something dumb. So calling somebody a dummy, like calling me a dummy, like, would set me off. Because I think I'm pretty intelligent, but, like, calling the next guy a dummy, he might be cool with it. He might be like, well, whatever, But for me, like, that would hurt my feelings. That would really, and I'm not ashamed enough to say that would really hurt my feelings, because I don't think I'm dumb at all. But it goes back to, what you said earlier, Maya. It's like, okay, you're saying what it is you really feel about me. So after you call me dumb, we supposed to be cool again? No, I'm not going. No, I can't do that. I can't do that. Next one. Whew. Red flag, Bibbi. Everybody gets to do things, and they get to certain places, milestones in their lifetime at different times. We're all not on the same path or the same track. We all don't necessarily move as swift as others do, when it comes to, what we want out of life, if you will. I mentioned at the top that both of you are hustlers, and I do mean that, because you both are really, really hustlers. But some people aren't. So when you have a red flag as a guy who has no work ethic, talk to me about the red flag that is a man with no work ethic.
Trifling. Just kidding. You see what I mean? So I learned not to believe in potential. I learned not to believe in potential. Now, someone with no gumption, no motivation, no get up and go is not for me. Mm-hmm. Now, some women are okay with that. But for me, I am not okay with that. And I'm not okay with it because I want somebody to match me. I am not okay with it because the purpose of a man in a woman's life is to protect and provide. Mm-hmm. And if you're not about your business, how are you going to protect me and provide for me? So if you don't care about yourself, and I told this to a friend of mine, like, how come we're not together or something? And if you make yourself miserable by the choices that you make, what would you care about making me miserable? Yeah, I'm good with that. So if you know that the decisions you make are bad and they do not yield the results, you can't wish your way into success. You can't, and some things may be more difficult. You have to try a little harder, or you might try it and realize it's not for you. And that's okay. But potential has to produce something. And so, yes, that is a definite red flag for me. Like, definite. Like, I'm not for you. And I'm not your coach. I'm your buddy, trying to help you through whatever, find your family members to lift you up and go ahead on.
I'm in total agreement. What about you, Maya? The man with no work ethic
wouldn't be with me. I wouldn't ever be with a man that didn't have work ethic. It's an old school song. I'll get the name of it for you, but it's an old school song. And she says, I was taught that if I have to get up and go to work every day, everybody has to go at least looking. And that's the truth. We don't come from a family with lazy men. I haven't seen lazy men. I'm not lazy. So, of course, I wouldn't want someone with me that was lazy. And much like Bibbi, we're both successful women. We both are college educated, and we make our own way in the world. And a lot of times we may not find someone that's on the financial same path as we are, but you got to do something. And you mentioned that we are hustlers, and I believe in a man being a hustler. So you got to do something. You got to go, you got to cut grass, you got to pump gas, you got to sell drugs, You got to do something. Like, you have to do something to produce $1 to bring into the home. And I really don't want people to sell drugs, but you get what I'm saying. You have to do something. So that's a red flag in itself, just because you don't want someone that's lazy. And I think the same goes for men. Like, and I think that you can speak to this, Kyle. Like, even though men's role in the home is to provide, you don't want somebody that's lazy either. And that doesn't mean that you want your significant other to necessarily go out and make money or whatever, but you don't want her to be lazy in anything that she does. If you're providing for her to stay home, take care of the children, you still want her to be doing something.
Right.
Like, take care of the home, take care of you, whatever the case, whatever y'all situation is. But yeah, it's a red flag just because you don't want somebody lazy. And really, in 2021, nobody can afford to be lazy.
Nobody.
The cost of living is high. You ever seen a loaf of bread these days? It's high as hell.
Right.
So yeah, it's a red flag, because how are we going to eat? That's the stuff that you have to think about. So yeah, I wouldn't be with somebody who didn't have any kind of work ethic. Now, you get into situations where you're with someone, and like I said, they might not be making as much as you, but you're doing something. You might get into a situation where a person was making a certain amount of money, and then they lost their job, and now they gotta, come up again. That's fine. But the initial lazy is a hell no.
Oh, I agree 1,000% with both of you. Yeah, work ethic that's huge for me. Like, end of discussion. Like, even if I always use the example, like, even on the Jeffersons, no matter how much money George had, at least Weezy went to the help center. She did something. You know
exactly.
What I'm saying? Like, she didn't just sit around and just chilled all day and watch cartoons. I've always, and I guess it's because I saw it in my mother and I saw it in my aunts. I've always been like, the women who raised me were, had very, very strong work ethics. So naturally, that's like what I gravitated towards. So even when I was coming up, my female friends were like that. And then subsequently, the girls that I dated were like that. And then the woman that I dated and married was like that. So like, that's all I've ever known. So like, I really have very low tolerance for a woman that doesn't have a work ethic. Do you have to have, a 6-figure job? No, you don't have to do that. But even if you're working at McDonald's, if you got the umption to get up and go to McDonald's and, earn that 9 to 5 and then come back home, that's cool for me, but I've never understood the idea or the mindset of, and it looks even worse for a man to just, like, one of my homeboys was telling me about one of his friends who, he said all he does is play video games. He says girl goes to work and he plays video games all day. And I'm like, how? Like, first of all, I'm like, how? I don't even know how you can be friends with somebody like that. Like, I would want to put my foot in my friend's ass if that's
Absolutely.
If that's what, if we're friends. I just, because that's also a reflection of me, because like, I saw something in you to become friends, and it's like, you ain't got no kind of get up and go to you, that you just want to sit and just, I mean, like, that's mind-boggling to me. And then what's even more mind-boggling is like, what woman would want to put up with that, but I agree with both of you. Work ethic is huge. You don't have to, everybody's not college material. Everybody's not going to college. Everybody, can't go to college. I get it. I went to college, but I don't necessarily hold that against someone who doesn't. It's just, if you want something, you want to go get it, and you're willing to work for it, I'm okay with that. That's what I'm about. But just sitting around on the couch all day, no, you got to do something.
Yeah.
You got to do something. The next one, Bibbi, I'll start with you on this one. We all come from different backgrounds. We all, we mentioned family earlier. Everybody doesn't necessarily have the same sense of family and sense of closeness like the three of us have. Sometimes you may meet someone who has not the best relationship with their parents. How big is the red flag if a guy is actually cruel to his parents?
Like, treats them mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mean. Like,
yeah, that's a deal breaker for me. That's a deal breaker for me. You don't have to, that's definitely a deal breaker for me. They're your parents. Now, if they were abusive, or you had a traumatic childhood or something like that, I can understand having some animosity or things like that. But if you are still, as a grown person, going out of your way to be treacherous to them, that's a no-go for me. Mother passed some years ago, and I cringe when people like yell at their mom, or they just take having a mom for granted in their adult life, and it makes me uncomfortable a lot of times because I don't have it, and I know the feeling when you don't. And so for you to just go out of your way to be mean on purpose, first of all, I'm just not a mean person. I don't like mean people. And yeah, that's definitely a deal breaker. That's not even a red flag. That's a deal breaker for me.
What about you, Mike?
Not your parents. You only get one set.
Preach.
Yeah, I feel like Bibbi as well. I've recently lost my parents, my mother and father, back to back. And I definitely feel like, you only get one. Now, I had a great relationship with my mother. I had a so-so relationship with my father just because we were so much alike, And so when we got into our stubborn ways, we just was stubborn towards each other, but still, that was my dad, and I would do anything for him. And I feel like, Bibbi, when you don't have your parents, you don't know what it's like not to have that. And for somebody who was mean to their parents or treated them just like screwed up on purpose, it's a, like Bibbi said, it's a deal breaker, but it's a big red flag, because how you, especially for a woman that dates men, you date a man and how he treats his mother is a reflection on how he's going to treat you. Point blank and period. If your mom, we know somebody, me and Bibbi, we know somebody, and they treated their mom like stir fry shit. And I used to always say, damn, they act like their mom was selling them for crack, And the crazy part about it was they had a good mom. They had a good mother who did everything for them, up until the time that she passed away, and they was a grown ass woman. And they treated their mom like shit, and they don't have no luck in their life. And then when you look at it, that's why you don't have no luck in your life, because your mother wasn't abusive and you treated her like crap. It just goes to show how you would treat somebody else, And I don't want anybody who is already enough not to be family oriented. Everybody's not going to be like us. I get that. Right. Everybody's not going to be close to their family like that. Some people's families are treacherous. Some people's families you can't be close to. And I get that. But again, you only get one set, of parents. And if you're doing that on purpose, you would do that to me. You would be calling me names. We got a lot going on. Again, we have a lot going on. You'd be calling me names. You'd be treating me like any damn thing. You'd be taking me away from my family. And the list goes on. And that leads back to what? The key word of the day. Abuse.
Yeah, I'm with y'all, man. I can't wrap my head around that. I'm fortunate enough to have both my parents still here. But I'm also realistic in knowing that at some point that won't be the case. You know what I'm saying? So I cherish the conversations. I cherish, every time I cherish every day with them. So, I view it through different lens. I mean, and I know, like you mentioned earlier, Maya, you get into it with your parents, and maybe sometimes you can get into it with your parents because you remind them of them, whatever the case may be. But, there's nothing. I don't understand why people would be actually cruel to their parents. Everybody ain't gonna get along, but I mean, these are the people that brought you into this, or brought you into this world. So I don't know that right there has always scratched my head. It's especially when you see it from afar and you're on the outside looking in. It's actually kind of sad. You just you look at it, you're just like, wow, man, I can't believe you just screamed on your mom like that. Like, that's crazy to me. Bibbi, I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on this one. Some people consider this to be a red flag. They cheated on their partner, their last partner, with you. Is that a red flag? And what's your thoughts on it?
That's definitely a red flag. If you cheated with me, then you gonna cheat on me with the next one. You
Well,
know,
that's not proven.
where is that not proven? Where is that not proven?
I mean, I'm being silly.
I mean, but that's just what it is. Now, me, I am not the most trusting person when it comes to men. So if I let you in, that takes a lot for me. I try not to project my mistrust onto you. It's just something that's always in my outliers. I'm always like, okay, I see this, I see that. But if someone cheated on, first of all, that's not going to happen unless I don't know that you're in a relationship, because I don't play number two for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But if a person cheats on someone else with you, you will be in that other woman's shoes. And that is definitely a red flag. And it has nothing to do with you per se. It has everything to do with who he is as a person. And I don't care what anybody says. I know that there are double standards and gender biases and things like that. Cheating cheapens you. I don't care if you're a male, female, what I have is precious and what men have is precious as well. And if you want to cheapen yourself with that, you go right ahead. That's on them.
I hear you. What about you, Maya? What's your thoughts on that? When they cheat with you, they cheated on their last partner with you.
Okay. I don't think
she started laughing before she started.
No, I was just laughing because I was just thinking of something. But no, I don't think. I kind of agree with Bibbi as far as like they will cheat on you with the next person. I mean, it doesn't always happen, but 90% of the time it happens, maybe 95% of the time it happens. The reason why it would be, I don't know so much as if it's a red, I don't know why. What am I trying to say? I don't know why that would be on the red flag list. I think that it's crazy for you to think that if a person cheats on you, that they wouldn't cheat. If they cheat with you, they wouldn't cheat on you. However, it would be more so from the woman's perspective of, why would you be with this man? Because you will always be thinking, outside of being a number two or filling the other woman's shoes, it just breeds insecurity within you. Mm-hmm. You'll always be thinking that this man is doing something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could get a situation and this person cheated, like, you go and you cheat with Sarah. Mm-hmm. Sarah could really be the love of your life. Tammy, who you're with, could have really just been like something to do, and you fell into a relationship. And you could have meet Sarah, and then Sarah just be the love of your damn life, and you and Sarah live happily ever after. I mean, that scenario could happen. But as Sarah, you would always be thinking when Joe walked out the door, damn, I wonder what Joe was doing. Where Joe at? Why is Joe late? How many miles did Joe go today? Why would you even want to put yourself through that? So I don't know if it's necessarily, I guess it is a red flag, but again, it would just breed insecurity. So I just wouldn't do it, if that makes any sense. So I don't know if it's just like the red flag thing, but it's just like, it should be a red flag to yourself. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It should be a red flag to you, not necessarily for for somebody that's coming into your life. It should be a red flag for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I feel you on that. I think both of you make really, really good points. I think for me, I think in my 20s, I probably wouldn't have cared. Definitely at 48, I care.
Yeah.
Because if you cheat on your man, in your 40s to be with me, and it doesn't have anything to do with because I'm extremely confident, but I'm always going to, that's always going to be in the back of my mind. So nah, I'm not rolling with that. I wouldn't do it, like I said, at this age. At younger, I probably wouldn't have. I probably been like, oh, well, she was just having fun, or we were just having fun, and and just kind of chalk it up like that. But when you get to be seasoned in life, you start thinking about things and people's character, and more importantly, their character flaws. You want to make sure that you address any issues that they have, or the issues that you may have with them, especially up front. That way, you know what you're getting into, as opposed to saying, well, you've been with somebody 3 years and you wake up and you're like, I can't believe I'm with this person. No, I mean, it's been 3 years. I mean, like, what happened prior to, you already knew what happened. So, yeah, that's always interesting. But I definitely understand where both of you are coming from on that. Mya. Now, all three of us are on social media. We are fairly popular on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. The three of us are on there. Red flag when the person that you're seeing demands your email or your phone or your passwords to your social media account. What's your thoughts on that?
Abuse. That's my thought on that. Like, that's just my thought on that. Because again, like you said, we in our 40s. We are in our 40s. If you ask me for my password or my email or my, like, you want to be on my social media, get out of here with that. Like, I ain't no little kid. I'm not giving you access to anything like that because I don't have to. Like, trust me enough in our situation where you wouldn't need that. Because again, you're going through that to look at what? Like, to see who's DMing me or who's doing what. Because at the end of the day, I'm an attractive woman. Men are going to DM me. Men are going to comment on social media. It just is what it is. Somebody is going to put a heart. Somebody is going to do whatever. You have to be confident enough in our relationship to just be like, okay, that's social media. Another thing is, I don't want to be with nobody who's so caught up in social media that they would need to see that. Social media to me is like fake. I mean, it is what it is. It's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? I go on there. I don't let anybody on my Facebook that's not close friends or family, because that's what I use it for, to post pictures of close friends or family. Twitter is just bullshit. We go in there, we laugh, we joke, you talk about serious issues as far as like world issues and things like that. But I don't take anything that somebody is saying on Twitter serious enough to bring it into my everyday life and run with it. And if you do, then you're not for me. Like, I want to be with somebody that we can laugh about social media. Like, look at this clown in my DMs. You know what I'm saying? Not like, well, what is he saying to you and this, that, and the third. Like, trust in a relationship is everything. So when you're asking for things like that, then you don't have trust. And it's no need for us to be together. And again, I'm an adult, as are you.
Facts. What about you, Bibbi? They want to see your phone. They want to see your emails. Want to see your social media passwords. What's your take on that?
And first of all, if you demand anything from me, that's a red flag and a deal breaker. That's abuse. Demanding, like, who are you? People, and I say this all the time, you had a life before you met this person. I don't care how old you are. You had a life before you met this person. This person is not entitled to know all your history or even your current private thoughts. So those things are personal. Even though social media isn't real, it really is, like Mya said, it is entertainment to me as well. It's not, as you grow in a relationship, you share things with your partner as you get closer, as you build trust. So if you if you are with somebody and you have to see every little thing they're doing, that's controlling and abusive. So yeah, that's definitely a no-go for me. And like Maya said, all these little things, like I hope they don't have all these things going on at once, because the person. But sometimes people think that, the flag may be a little red. It may be a small flag because something will make you think like, and then you have to wait maybe a month and you may see something else. But sometimes also you have to, if people are, everybody's not the same. So if this is the way they were, and if I was like this before with this person, they may think it's okay to be like that with the other person or the next person if no one ever corrects them.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So sometimes people want to know a lot of things and they think like, oh, it's trust. Oh, we trust each other with this, that, and the third, and it's okay. And for somebody, it may be okay. Not for me. That's just how I feel about that.
I feel you. It's it's a huge trust issue for me. I think if you're demanding someone's phone and you want to see their email and their social media passwords, then you don't have trust in them. And I've always kind of felt like if you don't have trust, then why are we in a relationship? We're wasting our time, and we ain't got time to waste time. I mean, that's just plain and simple. And it's interesting because and this made me laugh because one of our sons, our middle son, Cameron, he's in college. He's 18. And we were just talking one day, and he said he's got a girlfriend. They've been dating like 2 years or something like that. And he said something to the effect to let me know that his location was on his phone. And I'm like, what do you mean your location? Like all of this, some of this technology stuff kind of flies over the old guy's head. So anyway, so he's like, his location was on, and he was like, yeah, well, she's like, he had his location on, and his girlfriend had her location on. And I'm like, well, you're at home. I was like, why would you have your location? He's like, that way she don't know where I am. I was like, what? You're at home. What? I don't even know where you are. And he was just like, well, that's just what we do, Dad. And I was like, why? Like,
yeah.
And so I asked him, I said, well, does she have access to your password? I just happened to ask him. He's like, no. He's like, but if she wanted, she could have it. He's like, I ain't got nothing to hide. And I was like, nah, son, don't do that. I was like, because that starts a bad precedent, in your relationship. I said, you don't want to start stuff that, can inspire a lot of control. And, he's happy-go-lucky, kind of very nonchalant kind of kid. But I'm like, nah, you don't want to do that. So that made me laugh. I'm like, both of you are home. Why would your location really matter? And I mean, I was like, I'm your dad. I don't even want to know
where you are.
I mean, I paid a damn bill.
Right. And let me just say this. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
No, let me just say this. Something that my mother always told me. I mean, from the time that I can remember her telling me anything that's done in the dark is going to come to the light. And so it doesn't even matter if a person has your password or not. If they're looking for something in particular, because you only want it because you want to see what somebody else is saying, not necessarily what I'm saying. And if you're looking for something, one, you're going to find it. And two, don't worry. I don't care if it takes a year. It's going to come out. It always does. Always. It's nothing. Nobody can get away with anything for so long. So don't even worry about it.
Oh, I agree totally. And it's just, I don't think you have to. You want to make sure that you're not setting, bad precedents for what could be down the road. If this is somebody that you want to be serious about and possibly get married or whatever like that, you don't want to have those kind of conversations and do those kind of things because it's only going to get worse. Now we talked about social media. Another red flag, but we're all private. I mentioned we have social media, but we're the three of us are very private. That we share what we like to share on social media, things of that nature.
Right.
There's a red flag when your significant other refuses to make your relationship public. What's your thoughts about that? Not that he didn't change his he didn't change his social media status, but like he didn't post any pictures. He doesn't, acknowledge you publicly to, his friends and family or what have you. What's your thoughts about that?
Well, I ain't nobody's secret. I don't, and I sometimes people think that things have to be like staged or something like that. It doesn't have to be. Things just naturally occur. If you're with somebody, something happens, and we have to go over such and such's house, you're together. If you're at an event and we're taking pictures, and if you put the pictures on social media, we're together. Anybody who hides me, yeah, that's just a no-go. Unless we had a conversation like this is what this is. Yeah, no. What are you doing? That is definitely a red flag, that somebody is doesn't want anyone else to know that you're in a relationship with them. You're a side piece, or they really are not in a relationship with you. You're just occupying their time for now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a deal breaker. That's not even a red flag. That's a deal breaker for me.
True indeed. What about you, Maya?
That's not a red flag for me, because I would prefer you not to post me. And I probably wouldn't post you either. I could be in a relationship right now. I could be in a relationship right now and nobody would know. I'm not really into that. I mean, probably if I was married, I might post somebody on my thing, maybe like the day of our wedding. You might see it, but like, other than that, I probably would never.
But he's saying be in a secret, not just social media, correct?
No, he said if somebody doesn't post you on social media or anything like that, is that a red flag? That's what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I don't want anybody.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't care about that.
Oh, yeah, I don't want anybody. I prefer it not to post me on social media. Now, if you did, I wouldn't I wouldn't feel like, oh my God, why did you post me? Because that's your business. Like, if that's what you into, because you might get with somebody who's like into that, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's cool. But no, I don't think that that's a red flag. It's just like something that you're not doing. And again, it goes back to my, the last question that you asked. Social media for me is like a fake world. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's real, but it's like a fake world. So like, people take that shit so serious. It's like if somebody says something on Twitter, they be like, "Oh my God, I gotta have my boyfriend bring me red roses because I need to post it and this, that, and third." Like, I don't want nobody in my business that much. Mm-hmm. I'm when you say that we're private, I'm extremely private. A man could be living in here. I could be like anything. Nobody would know. We just had this conversation on vacation because my brother said, it just came up in conversation with his girlfriend, right? And his girlfriend was like, yeah, because one day your brother was like, I don't be in her business, but like, do she got a man or does she this, that, and third? And me and my brother is like, when I tell you close, we are close, And I said to his girlfriend, I said, so my brother think I'm a lonely spinster? And and she was like, I don't know, whatever. And I'm like, I ain't no lonely spinster. I just don't bring nobody around y'all. When I do, I will. And when I'm not, I won't. But I'm not alone. I mean, I'm not lonely is the point. So it's a difference. But I say all of that to say that's not a red flag for me. I prefer you not to.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think it's I think you have to. It depends on who you're with, because some people, like you mentioned, Maya, for social media, they're good at oversharing. Like they post everything. Like they're gonna post a picture of their lunch. They're gonna post a picture of the shoes that they bought. They're gonna post a picture of dinner. And you may be the total opposite. I think I'm always interested in the evolution of how relationships develop over a period of time and how they play out over social media. Like I might have a female friend who, you know, I know when she's dating a guy and then they're dating, and then I'm in my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, at some point she's gonna post a picture of them on Facebook. And how long it, in my mind, I may even, kind of timestamp it like, oh, they've been together 3 months, no pictures. Okay. But then because I know her, I might say, okay, well, yeah, probably at about 4 months, she's going to post a picture. And then, subsequently goes from there. But it just really depends on who you're with and how active they are in that type of stuff. Now, doing it on social media is one thing. Acknowledging the fact that you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend publicly, that's something totally different. Like if you can't, if I'm your man and you can't tell, Karen and Susie and whomever else and Rashida that I'm your man, we got a problem. Like, you need to be able to broadcast that to the heavens. If not, I'm gonna feel away. I'm sorry.
Right.
I just am because I would do the same for you, and I don't think anybody has anything to hide. Last red flag, last one, Bibbi, and I know this isn't you, but some people are incapable of apologizing. Not saying that they don't want to. They are incapable. They never apologize. Is that a red flag for you? And if so, tell me your thoughts on that red flag. People who are incapable of apologizing.
I'm not sure if that's a red flag for me. I think that me personally, I like peace. So I'm very forgiving. I move on quickly, things like that. But I think for a person who is incapable, sometimes things take time. Now, we're getting up there. It's not like we're young, have this is young, fresh, new, have no life experience. Because, I'm 25 with experience. So some people just haven't had the mentorship or the feelings that they know how to apologize without feeling that they've been manipulated or suckered or things like that. So I'm not sure if that's a red flag for me, because I've learned that as you grow, as you get older, when you get to know people, it may be something that you were not familiar with then, but if you are amenable to change, then I think sometimes you just have to give people the opportunity to change. So I don't know if that would be a red flag for me, especially like maybe I would have to give you some time. That would probably take maybe like almost a year or something if it was an ongoing problem. Now, some people are just mean, or they never do anything wrong, or something like that, and you don't apologize. We know that that's a red flag, deal breaker, whatever you want to call it. But for some people, they just don't recognize. There are things that, because I was single for a very long time, and I dated, but not like seriously to me. Like they were probably serious. I don't think I was as serious. But like now that I have a person in my life, it's like I have to make a lot of concessions, because things that I used to do by myself, all my decisions and things like that. Like I said, when we're arguing, I may say something that's not nice. But I have to learn how to make adjustments. So I don't know right off if that's a deal breaker for me.
Okay. What about you, Mya? The person that will just is incapable of apologizing.
Yeah, that's a red flag. And the reason why it's a red flag for me is because if you're incapable of apologizing and you're wrong, then I have to apologize. And what am I apologizing for? Your wrongness. And another thing is that if you can't take responsibility for your actions, then that's a red flag. because it puts all of the onus on someone else. So now everything is my fault. Like if you're incapable of apologizing, somebody has to, because somebody has to move us along. And then it comes to be me, and it's my problem. And if I'm apologizing for something that I think that I should be apologizing for, then that's going to it's going to bring about resentment on my end toward you, because I'm always the one that has to take the blame for everything. And I think that it's a problem when you can't say I'm sorry or I apologize. I mean, I think that is an issue. Because like Bibbi said, you've never done anything wrong? And I don't think that that's necessarily a person. I mean, you have your opinion and I have mine, but I don't think that that's necessarily a person that doesn't know. Like, when to say sorry, and when to take accountability for your own actions. Now, yeah, you do have situations where in a relationship, a person doesn't think that they should have to apologize. Like, that happens. And every now and again, if that happens, then that's fine. But if like you're completely unaware, or you're completely just like, no, I don't think that I'm wrong or whatever. That's abuse. That's abuse. It all leaves all these damn red flags, except for the one that you said about not posting me on social media, comes back to abuse. Because, like, say sorry. You should want to apologize to your mate because here's the thing. Like, you could really not think that you did anything, right? But a person could tell you how they feel about a situation, because everybody's feelings are their own. They're valid, right? If I say to you, you hurt my feelings, or you did something, or you this, that, and the third, and let's just say that you like, I really don't even really think that was a big deal. In a relationship, you have to be able to just like, sometimes even for the peace of the relationship, to just not deal with it. You got to be able to be like, all right, sorry. Even if you don't mean it, you just got to be like, all right. Because like, what, we gonna keep dwelling on this same thing? So somebody has to be, or each person has to take ownership of something. And so, yeah, that would be a red flag for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one, Mike. What'd you say?
I was just going to say that I feel like some people, and it doesn't matter how old you are, because I think a lot of people have made it far, and I'm talking about age-wise, without taking any accountability. And they're just not accountable. So
yeah, that's the problem.
Well, I'm not saying it's not a problem. What I'm saying is sometimes it takes people a little longer to catch on. So in these scenarios, like I said, I'm a kind of person, I'm very nice, I'm forgiving, I love people for who they are. So even if I see a flag, it may take me a little while. The flag has to be like egregious, or you keep collecting the same flags or different flags for me to say, yeah, there's something wrong with you and I don't want to deal. But I think that, and when you see these things, I mean, it's not that I don't notice. I notice, and then you make the decision of how you're going to proceed. Like, I don't see me falling head over heels with anyone who has certain red flags or any type of flags that we've brought up today. I just feel that sometimes people aren't, in every relationship, people aren't given opportunities for everything. So never apologize. What is never? Is the first 3 months, the first 6 months, and they'll get to eventually? That's not never to me. That's just how I see it.
No, I mean, that's a good point, and that's valid. I just think, like, when you have someone who is, because the thing said incapable means like you're capable, but you just choose not to. I think at some point, I'm not going to say some point. For me, that would be a huge red flag. And it's also a turnoff as well, because, we're all human. We're going to make mistakes. You're going to do things. You're going to say things sometimes that warrant an apology. And I think it's right. If I did something to you, Bibbi, and I'm wrong, and I know that I'm wrong, and you know that I'm wrong too, and if I'm not willing to apologize for it, then to me that's a sign of my lack of respect.
Disrespect.
Exactly. Disrespect. And respect goes along for most men, that goes a long way. So, if he feels disrespected, he's just not gonna stand for it. And so, like, for someone that's incapable of apologizing, yeah, that's a huge that's a deal breaker for me. That's not even it's not even a red flag. Like, we won't even get that far because we're all gonna make mistakes. We're all gonna do certain things. Sometimes you might say something. Sometimes you might do something that warrants an apology. And if you're incapable of even trying to muster up the words to say I'm sorry or I apologize, and apologizing doesn't necessarily mean that you're weak or anything like that. It shows, that you have a level of compassion for the other person. So, but yeah, that's about it as far as all the questions. Man, this flew by really fast. Oh, before we get out of here, Mya, first tell the people where they can find you guys at, and if you want to give us your social media, you can.
I'll give out my social media. I just don't want you posting me on your social media. But if anybody is listening and you do, I won't be upset about it. But no, thanks, Kyle. We really had a great time as always. We really appreciate you having us on the show, especially because our show is on hiatus right now. So this helps us to get our feet wet to like come back. So we really do appreciate it. To put a bow on your show, don't be with someone who is abusive. That is Mya. But you can find us on social media anywhere that Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at We Did That Shit Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter is MyMy13. That's MYMY13. And yeah, I mean, give us a shout out. Go back and listen to all our old shows. We got some good ones, and we're coming back with some new ones for 2021. And you can find our show anywhere where you can listen to a podcast. It's We Did That Shit Podcast.
What about you, Bibbi?
Well, we have our Instagram page. I don't have a personal Instagram myself, but I am on Twitter. I'm at Bibbi And Mya. That's BIBIAMINA. We Did That Shit, Bibbi, at Bibbi And Mya on Twitter. And I had a great time too, Kyle. This was really good for me. A good break.
Man, I think it goes without saying that, we miss you guys, having and hearing the We Did That Shit podcast. But like I told y'all, when you said that you were taking a hiatus, I said, whenever it happens, it's like the people who listen will be there when you come back. And, so that still stands. But I'm glad that we were able to get you guys on because, like I said, when I saw this, there was only two people that I wanted to do this podcast with. I was like, because they're going to keep it real. It wouldn't have made sense for me to do a podcast about red flags by myself. So,
right.
But yeah, I want to thank everybody for listening. Make sure that you check out the We Did That Shit podcast. Like they said, it's a great podcast. One of my favorites. Trust me. And their podcasts aren't dated, so you can go back and listen to the archives and still get a lot of the wisdom and laughter that you got out of this podcast as well. So that's going to do it for us. So for Mya and for Bibbi from the We Did That Shit podcast, I'm your boy 12 Kyle. This has been the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. We'll catch you guys next time. 5Gs.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When the insurance company doesn't pay what you deserve after you've been hurt in an auto accident, the law firm of Greenberg and Betterman is here to help you. Get a free consultation today. Visit gblawyers.com. That's gblawyers.com and feel better.